Hey, what's going on, y'all? Jay from JSFILMZ. So welcome back to another RTX 4060 Ti kind of test or benchmark. This time around, we're running Cyberpunk 2077 with the RTX 4060 Ti in 1440p mode. Now, again, I am testing this out because, as you all know, the 4060 Ti 8 gigs got destroyed by YouTubers saying it's worthless and it's pretty much just a piece of junk. And my counter argument is that if you have only $400, like my buddy, right? You have a limit. You say, hey, $400 is as much as I'm going to spend. What can you get with that? What kind of performance can you get with that much money, right? So I think, in my opinion, as you can see right here, we're running this at 1440p, and this is all maxed out ray tracing. So let me show you real quick. I'm going to go to settings, and I'm going to go to graphics right here. And I'm going to scroll down. We don't even have frame generation on. All right. So I have DLSS super resolution to balance because, again, that's the perfect middle ground. And if I go down right here, you're going to see that all of these settings are high settings. So ray tracing, ray trace reflections, everything. Ray trace lighting at ultra. And we're going to turn on path tracing here in a minute. So I guess, again, the argument is, for me, you can call me an old gamer, but a $400 video card should not be able to run with 8 gigs a game like Cyberpunk like this. Okay? And it's not about, oh, it only has 8 gigs, right? I think the question we need to start asking is, how the heck is this GPU running Cyberpunk 2077 with only 8 gigs? And it's only drawing 110 watts, 114 watts of power. So reverse that question. It's not so much can it run a game with 8 gigs. The question is, how the heck is this playing at 1440p with only 8 gigs? Right? That's the question. It's running pretty cool too. Alright, so that being said, let's go ahead and turn on some settings. We'll turn on frame generation, and we'll set it to auto. I'm not going to change anything here. We're just going to turn on frame gen, and everything else is going to be still. I didn't change anything here. I just turned off motion blur because I just don't like it. Ray trace lighting is still going to be ultra. So I'll press escape here. Now this is going to take a second to settle, so I'm going to let it settle. And now we're running this at 60 frames per second. With frame generation set to auto. 1440p. So this is exactly why I don't just go believe in people on the internet. Okay? This is exactly why. Because again, a freaking $400 card should not be able to run this game. Not in this quality. Right? Because right now this is maxed out. I shouldn't be able to come here and play this game at 1440p. This is insane, man. This is insane. Alright, so we got 40 frames per second. I'm going to go back to settings here, and let's set it to ultra performance and see what that looks like. All right, so here we go, ultra performance at 63 frames per second, 64 frames per second. And what's interesting is now with the console, the prices of consoles are going up, and the GPU prices are going down. Shootout. Eventually, people are going to have to decide whether to get a console or just get a system with a 4060 Ti, 8 gigs. Because again, compared to a console, this looks a lot better. And for my buddy Mike, who's upgrading from a 2070, upgrading from a 2070 to a 4060 Ti now, he's going to have fun in here. And if he believed those people online that said, hey, it's just totally worthless, then he would miss out completely, right? This is freaking crazy. So this is ultra performance. I mean, we could turn on path tracing here. Let's see if this is going to run it. And we'll turn on ultra performance again. Now we're pushing this card. We're just pushing this card like crazy. And I'm getting with path tracing on, which is RTX Di, which is Overdrive, this thing is running at ultra performance at 50 some frames per second. This is just absolutely bananas that it's able to do this, to be honest with you. Let's see if I can find a kind of well-lit area. And I totally understand. If you have the money, and by the way, I'm actually recording this as well with OBS, using the AV1 codec, so just kind of take that into account, because it is going to tax the computer as well. Alright, so let me back out, and what I'll do is I'll post the specs here in a second on the screen so you can see, because I only have 32 gigs of RAM in this computer. This computer is, I got it for like $1,100 on Black Friday. Okay, so let's go back to Lizzie's right here, and kind of let's go back to that little room that we went to, so I can kind of show you. Pretty darn crazy. And honestly, the power draw is pretty. Come on in. It's so freaking efficient too, as far as the power draw. It's just crazy. All right, so let's go here. Again, this is with RTX Di. This is with baby path tracing. A $399 card combined with DLSS, bro. What more do you want? I should not be able to play this game at this setting. So let's see, let's go to performance real quick. And again, I'm gonna have that on, path tracing on. This is gonna be pretty heavy on the GPU right here. This is where you're gonna hit the limit. Yep, right there. So with performance mode, we're getting around 40 frames per second, 45 frames per second in here with RTX Di on. 99%, 7.8 gigs of VRAM, and it's using 19 gigs of my RAM, which I have 32. You know, actually, let's go switch it to, let me just see, because I know people out there don't necessarily go with, what do you call this? 1440p. Some of y'all are happy with 1080, so let's take a look. So this is 1080p right now, 73, 74 frames a second with RTX Di on. You go to graphics, and let's go to balance and see what that looks like. Okay, DLA is right there. I have motion blur off, and again, I'm just gonna scroll through down here, and this is gonna take a second to settle. So balance mode, we're getting about 30 frames per second, and this looks incredible. Again, with RTX Di with path tracing. Let's turn that off. All right, let's turn path tracing off just to see what that will look like. Now we're getting about 35, 34, 32. Or there you go. Actually, no, it just took a minute to settle. So we're getting about 82, 80 frames per second with RTX Di off, Overdrive off. This is people, again, this is why you gotta do your own test. You just got to. You can't just repeat what other people say, because that's pretty much as bad as them spreading that information. So never believe anything you see until you actually see the proof. And man, this is playable. This is crazy, crazy playable for me. All right, I'll see you on the next game, which is going to be Forza 5.